So, well, most families, when you go on vacation, you either go to Florida, your lake house, Disney World, and Disneyland, just like my family did this past summer. Well, those are great ways to bond with your family. The biggest memories I had going to places was when we went to national parks. So, the U.S. national parks provide a way for America to preserve nature while also creating a place for visitors to experience America's beauty. Not only from the pictures is it a great place to travel, it's also very inexpensive. A lot of the national parks usually only pay for housing. You don't have to pay for rangers, nature walks, anything. It's all free. And it also helps preserve America's beauties as well. So it's not being destroyed by hunters and things like that. So from this presentation, I'm going to explain not only the history of the national parks, but how America has preserved national parks and why it has changed me as a person. So according to the timeline, from Duquesne 2009 and Porcher 69, Yosemite National Park was discovered in 1851, and James Mason Hutchings goes to Yosemite in 1855. So there are multiple people figuring out Yosemite, and if you didn't know, Yosemite is in the top corner of California in the northern part. And then, so just Hutchings did not want Yosemite to be destroyed. So in 1864, President Lincoln signed a law to finally preserve Yosemite. And in 1869, John Muir comes to Yosemite. But then there were problems between Muir and Hutchings because Muir had different ideas on how to preserve Yosemite. Hutchings really wanted to be tourism, and with him there became a lot of hunters coming in, tourism coming in, and it was destroying it as a whole. So finally, in 1872, Yosemite becomes the first national park, so preservation was finally becoming a thing. And then in 1879, the Department of Interior was finally created, which helped start more and more national parks becoming a thing throughout the country. And finally, in 1916, the National Park Service was established, so which meant like even more national parks throughout the country were being preserved. So today there are over 400 national parks, and they're all based upon unique characteristics. So for example, that's Sequoia National Park. So it's based upon the huge Grant trees that you see where they're the huge redwoods, or Glacier National Park, which is all based upon the glaciers in Montana. And then up there is the Grand Canyon, so it's a huge monument, and they're all based upon that. So national parks are valuable because they help preserve nature. A lot of the National Park Service wants to make sure that everything you see today in the National Park is here when you take your kids to see it. According to the National Park Service, glaciers are starting to disappear, and our kids and our kids' kids may not get to see any glaciers at all. So it's a big part to preserve all of America's beauties. And on contrast, a lot of people think that tourism can kill national parks due to people coming in, like cars and trains and etc. But John Muir and John Muir's purpose when the United States got involved, that started to stop all of that and make sure it stays originally. So while it also John Muir and the U.S. government found ways to preserve it, also helps educate the people about the United States, the national parks, because of how everyone can save it as a whole. So originally the Army protected it, according to Duquesne 2009, and now rangers preserve it, and they create guidelines and standards on how to change it. And how the National Park Service does it, quoted by the National Park Service, said, they decide what is important, they figure out how to protect it, and they pass along appreciation for what it is, for what was saved for the next generation. So next slide. So not only has the history been important and the preservation been important, it's given me a good place in my heart. There's so many memories I've had with national parks that they're just unforgettable. So as I said before, there's a lot of things you can do in national parks, just like my family did when we traveled to Yosemite National Park. And Yosemite is the third most visited national park according to the top 10 most visited national parks in 2010. So what you can do is you can do the Junior Ranger program if you're between the ages of 5 to 13. So you fill out a bunch of packets, go to Ranger programs, and you get these little tiny badges, and it's like a collector thing for all like the little kids of how many different Junior Ranger programs you can get. You can go to Yosemite Valley, which is this one right here. You can go to Bridalveil Fall, which is this one. This isn't a full one. This isn't which is that one right there. So if you're a rock climber, you climb on the side of it, and so it's like a big thing. It's a unique experience to do. You can obviously go hiking throughout, and you can camp, and then there's different, you can go in cabins and stay there overnight. So, and you can do so many different things like ranger talks, and plus so many more according to the Yosemite National Park. So visiting creates obviously so many memories. Being able to tell people you've hiked from the top of the Grand Canyon to down the Grand Canyon to all the way back up in one day is something no one thinks like happens. Like there's even signs on the road saying you can't do this, and everyone does it anyway. Being able to tell people you've seen glaciers clave in Alaska or been right up next to a black bear, or saying you can see, I've seen all the Yellowstone geysers go up in the air. There's so many things you can tell people that you're just never going to forget, and I would love to be able to show my kids and show everyone else what America's beauties have to offer. So national parks have not only changed me, but America. And hopefully the history and showing that Help America will hopefully help you try and visit them the next time you come. Because national parks help preserve America's beauties throughout the country, and it provides a way for park goers to experience nature and value nature. So the next time you're planning your spring break trip or your summer break trip, and you don't want to spend a bunch of money on a resort or getting an airfare, I highly suggest going to one of America's national parks throughout the country, and you will never regret it.